For instance, an assembly member of Mabai in Ahafuanonof, how does he go around to visit his people at Kobeda and Kwafukrom before he goes to the assembly meeting to deliberate on the issues concerning their plight? So I will want to take this opportunity to appeal to the Honorable Local Government Minister and the local government ministry itself to make sure they expedite action on providing motorbikes to the Honorable Assembly members. And I believe that will help. Then looking at the relationship and other things between the traditional authorities and the unit committee members. I'm happy today the Ministry of Chieftaincy has been merged with Ministry of Local Government. So the minister should take note of that and then take action on that. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the last election, that's the 2024 election, both political parties, the major political parties, the NDC and MPP, in their manifestos, promise honorable assembly members that when they come, they will see how the ministry can allocate some funds to honorable assembly members to aid in their work. Today, the NDC is in power. So I want to appeal to the NDC government to make sure they look at the regular distribution of common funds and how some portion will be given to the honorable assembly members to aid in their work as promised in the manifesto. With this, I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I understand you are the president of the assembly members, eh?
Former president of NALAC.
NALAC?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I can now understand why you are speaking for them. Yes, let me go to Honorable Andrew Sola.
Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, I appreciate you for the opportunity to comment on the statements delivered by these two honourable members. The honourable lady, I happen to be residing in her constituency. I thank her for accommodating me in her constituency. Mr. Speaker, the district assembly concept is a very good concept. It's a concept that is supposed to bring development to the rural people. Mr. Speaker, I have often told my assembly members that if we have a very strong assembly system, the work of the member of parliament will be very limited, because the assembly members and the unit committee members, for that matter, they live with the people day in, day out. And so they know the people better than the members of parliament. And they know the needs of the people better than the members of parliament. Like the Honorable Elekpin said, what I think we have to do to empower them is to resource them. We, those who come from the rural areas, can testify to the importance of the unit committee members. In my constituency, for instance, we have electoral areas that are very scattered. There are some of the electoral areas that have as many as 20 communities making up the electoral area. And so making it very difficult for the assembly member alone to function. And so that is why we think that the unit committee members should be seen as very important persons when it comes to helping send development to the people, helping carry information to the people, and helping solve the needs of the people. And so, Mr. Speaker, she indicated the need to empower them by way of training or developing their skills. It is very necessary for us to do that, because in some of the communities, they serve as the teachers. In some communities, they serve as the medical officers. They serve as everything. And so if they are empowered financially and technically, they will play their role to the expectation of the community members who elected them. My colleague, Honorable Sanja, in contributing, indicated the low patronage of the unit committee level. It's a fact because they don't have any benefit. They spend money to get the forms completed. They spend money to go run to campaign. On election days, Mr. Speaker, you'll be surprised to hear that you would have to transport people to voting centers. And unit committee members and assembly members have to do that from their pocket. Meanwhile, they do not have any allowance. And so it only takes a person that is dedicated and committed to the service of his community or her community to volunteer to contest as an assembly member or a unit committee member. So, Mr. Speaker, calling for resource is important. Mr. Speaker, I know there's no time. Let me conclude by touching small on Honorable Napari's statement. It is a fact that constitutionally we are supposed to consider stakeholders in the formation of the District Assembly, especially when it comes to the appointments by the President. We need to consider carefully the people we select on the government appointment. I mean, the President appointment. We need to get the people who have the skills. We don't just have to pick party members, but people who have the know-how, traditional leaders, NGOs, faith-based organizations, in fact, people with the expertise to serve as government appointees, so that at the end of the day, we would carry home the development that government wants to send to the people. I thank you once again, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, but with the presence of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he promised assembly members, I know he's going to deliver on his promise. We are going to send development to the doorsteps of the people. We are not going to award contracts from Accra. We are not going to award just road grading.
Honorable, thank you. Thank you so much.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, let me go to Akim Odan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity for me to make a comment on the two statements that have to do with local governance in Ghana. Indeed, the member for Domi Kwabenya would have to put herself together and form an association of MPs who reside in her constituency. Because I just heard the honorable member saying she lives there, and we have quite a couple of people who also live in Domi Kwabenya, so that at least we can have development coming in our area. So, Speaker, I'm excited to take a bite on this all-important topic, local governance. So, Speaker upon Speaker, Speaker after Speaker to this statement have all talked about the fact that we need to empower our local governance system. If you look at the structure of our local governance, it is only the assembly member and the MMDCs that you see. You don't have the unit committee and the other structures performing, and it's because they don't have empowerment. How do we talk about empowerment without looking at financial capacity or a system that would allow them to have access to finance? I want to crave your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, to share an experience. In my constituency, the usage of common fund was a major campaign issue during our primaries. And so I promised my constituents that in order for them to have full access to the use of common fund, I was going to disburse the common fund to the 18 electoral areas in my constituency. When I got elected, every common fund that is released, yes, it was disbursed to the 18 electoral areas. We had the various electoral areas led by our assembly members opening electoral area accounts. And these monies were disbursed from the district assembly directly into that account. It made it easier for me to account for the common fund for every quarter. Even though I do not have any major project standing in my name, for every electoral area you go, there is something that they can point to that attests to the fact that this is what the MP's common fund has been used for. I think it becomes easier for you to account for the common fund because it's one major area that, as a member of parliament, if you are not careful, they will definitely use it to campaign against you. No, I'm not concluding. You have to learn from my experience. And so, Mr. Speaker, it is the reason during the campaign of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he promised that portions of the common fund were going to go to the electoral area. We did not vote for him. But once the NDC promised that they were going to pay assembly members, we are quietly waiting for that promise, because if assembly members are going to be paid, it would entice people to come and volunteer to become assembly members and to be voted for. After you have paid them, let's ensure that we have resources that will go directly into the electoral area, because we know the assembly common fund, when it goes to the district assemblies, they get into major projects and the electoral areas do not benefit. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yes. No, let me go to the first timer. Yes, my brother.
On the statement by our colleague, Member of Parliament for Dome Kwabenya, with the plight of unit committee members, having been an assembly member and a presiding member before, I have a personal encounter with them. And I think it's right that as members of parliament, we look at how our unit committee members are treated. In fact, the district elections is designed to bring democracy and governance to the doorstep of Ghanaians. And if you look at the structure of our local government, the Constitution and the Local Governance Act provide the framework for such structures to exist between the Assembly and the Unit Committee. These substructures are composed mainly of the unit committees and the elected assembly members. We have the town councils, the zonal councils, and the area councils. If you go to the area councils, they are composed of elected assembly members within that area, and then not more than 10 unit committee members. That is, the composition is 15. So you realize the unit committee members have majority numbers in terms of the composition of these area councils. However, at the end of the tenure of these unit committee and assembly members, it is only the assembly members that provisions have been made for them to determine their emolument. But these unit committee members are the focal point for local engagement. If you look at the functions of the unit committee, Mr. Speaker, you realize they are to assist the area or urban councils to enumerate and keep records of all rateable persons and properties. And it is as a result of this that the Assembly can generate IGF. But in the disbursement or the usage of this IGF, the unit committee members don't even see how they are used. So I think it is at the right time that we look at how these unit committee members are treated, especially when their tenure of office is getting near. The assembly members are given motorbikes, but the unit committee members don't even have a bicycle to even go to the various areas. Thank you. And so I think the local governance minister should look at this and consult in getting some of these concerns addressed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Should I come to leadership? Yes.
The Speaker, all of us know the cost, the cost of 3-unit classroom block